Why is protein powder so expensive? If you're buying protein powder for the first time, you might have some sticker shock about how high the price is. Or if you're like me and you've been using it for years, you're frustrated with how much the price recently has increased. In this video, I'm going to explain why that's the case and some factors to consider when deciding whether a protein powder is worth it or not. And stick around for some tips on how you can save money on buying protein powder in the future. 𝗣𝗏𝗀 obtained some research from PureSource, which is a national manufacturer and distributor of supplements, protein powders. My colleague Jennifer 𝗣𝗏𝗀, who does all of our supplement and protein powder reviews on our blog, has been a supplement store manager for over a decade. In those 10 years, she's been able to monitor price trends for various supplements, including protein powders, and Jen's access to product catalogs and pricing over the past several years gives us really unique data at 𝗣𝗏𝗀 to provide expert explanations and advice on protein powder. So you may not realize just how much protein powder prices have skyrocketed. And let me tell you, when I looked at this data, I was actually shocked. If we look at our chart comparing protein prices from November 2022 versus November 2023, whey protein isolate brands have increased their price 20% on average in just 1 year. As an example of how insane the price increases have been, even for the quote-unquote affordable brands, if we look at Optimum Nutrition Gold Standard Whey, which is a very popular protein, it's usually reasonably priced, available at most stores. We tracked the brand's price increases from 2016 until 2023. The price only increased by 3.33%, only a few dollars from 2016 to 2019, and it stayed that price until 2022. And here is where we see a huge jump with a 50% increase in price. And that elevated price has stuck around until now in 2024. That means you're paying 1.5 times more for the same amount of product. Now, of course, there are a lot of brands out there, so what do we consider expensive for protein powder? The average cost for a serving of protein powder as of January 2024 is $1.34. At 𝗣𝗏𝗀, we consider expensive protein powder to be $1.50 per serving or more. A higher price doesn't always indicate a better product, however. So understanding which criteria make a protein powder worth paying for is really important, so you don't end up with one that is cheap but also low quality. So what should you be looking for when it comes to quality? If a protein has these things, then we feel that it's worth paying for more than the average. It is third-party tested and certified. 2, it has at least 90% protein per serving as a percentage of total calories. Number 3, it does not contain any sugar alcohols, artificial flavors, or fillers. And lastly, it includes additional supplements that you would otherwise have to pay for separately, as long as the amount per serving is disclosed and stated on the label. Now that we know what to look for, does more money equal better quality when it comes to protein powders? Well, the answer is not a straight yes or no. It really depends. If we use one of my personal favorites, which is Transparent Labs grass-fed whey protein isolate as an example, it is the highest priced protein powder that we've reviewed. It costs around $2 per serving compared to the industry average of $1.34. But we feel it's well worth it for the following reasons. Number 1, it has 93% protein as a percentage of total calories compared to 75 to 85% for most other protein powders. It also has 12 flavor options using only natural flavors and sweetened with stevia instead of sugar alcohols or other high-intensity sweeteners like aspartame or sucralose. That being said, high-priced protein powders aren't necessarily higher quality than lower-priced options, honestly. For example, Ghost Protein costs $1.73 per serving versus the average of $1.34, but it's artificially sweetened, it only has 80% protein per calorie, and it doesn't offer certificates or analysis of third-party testing, so this product doesn't really seem worth the price. Now, the lowest priced protein powder we've reviewed from bulk supplements costs less than $1 per serving. It has 90% protein per calorie, and it's third-party certified. Now I know what you're thinking. This is just getting way too expensive. Is it even worth it to keep using protein powder at all at this point? Whether the protein powder cost is worth it really does depend on your goals and preferences and your budget. There are so many lower cost whole food protein sources. You can get it from canned fish, deli meats, egg whites, Greek yogurt, beans, legumes. If if you also want carbs. But these, of course, are less convenient than just putting some protein powder in a shaker bottle and calling it a day. Now, we know the economy has been changing, but why specifically has protein powder become more expensive? So let's break it down. First reason is increased demand. As a lot more people are becoming interested in improving their health and fitness, they also want to buy protein powder, and they're willing to pay more to get their hands on it. Shipping costs have also increased across all industries, and those costs are now being passed on to the consumer. There are also supply chain issues. A lot of dairy farms laid off staff and reduced their operations during the lockdowns in 2020, which of course resulted in lower output from the dairy industry and less whey for making whey protein powder. Whey manufacturing costs have also increased. And of course, good old inflation. Everything has gotten more expensive. With above average inflation that started in April 2021 and continued to the beginning of 2023 and now into 2024. Thanks for reminding me how expensive everything is, but how can I save money on protein powder going forward? Here are my tips. My first tip for saving money on protein powder is to buy in bulk. To start, I suggest getting sample size servings to figure out what brand, type, and protein flavor that you like the best, so that you don't waste your money buying an entire tub of something that you hate. I also would recommend getting a flavor maybe like vanilla that you can mix with a lot of different things. Once you know what brand, type, and flavor protein powder you like to buy, best is to get the largest size you can. Most protein powders have a very long shelf life, like a year or 2 years or more if you store them properly. You're gonna pay more upfront for a large package, but the cost per serving will be less. So just make sure you do the math to check. My next tip is to buy online. Some companies that sell exclusively online versus managing brick and mortar storefronts, they have lower costs, and then they can pass along that savings in terms of lower product costs to their customers. My third tip is to get a subscription. Repeat business is good for companies, and you can benefit as a customer because they often discount it if you do a subscription. If you find a product that you know that you'll continue to use, sign up for a subscription service to deliver the product at a specified frequency. A recurring purchase is going to get you a better price than that one-time purchase of the same product. Finally, my fourth tip for saving money on protein powder is by watching my video on the cheapest protein powders that are still high quality. In that video, I go over the highest quality protein brands with the best prices across different categories of proteins, which I of course have linked below. Thanks for watching and have an amazing day.